I think we are live. Yes, we are. Okay, guys. All right, cool. Okay, so we are live so far. All right. Okay, this is it. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to Behind the Shot. This is the first episode of this series. Just a few weeks ago, I uploaded my own Behind the Shot show, and it was completely different format from this one. It was more of a documentary, and I realized that considering everything, it would be more exciting if this show was more interactive. So I'd like to feature different guests, top photographers, to talk about their best images. This show is sponsored by Deity microphones. So thanks, Deity. I'm currently using the D3 Pro. It's an amazing piece of gear, and I also use it and a host of other things for my vlogs. So, well, if this isn't any testament to that, then I don't know what is. All right, so today we are going to feature for our first guest a very important guy in the sense that when I started diving, this guy actually made it possible. So Ram Yoro was my instructor when I first started out. He certified me to get for diving. I think until advanced open water, and then it's funny because after my fifth checkout dive, the sixth one was already into Bataha. So Ram really, taught me a lot and made sure that the first dive I had, which was to Bataha, would have been really really good. So I would like to introduce Ram. So let me cue him up. There you go.
Hey Noel, hey guys.
There's
It's an
Ram.
honor to be here, and it's a great pleasure too. And Noel, don't forget we took rescue also, but you owe me an exam.
No, I think I owe you that. I owe you that. The thing.
The emergency action plan.
Yeah, yeah, man. I forgot
Yeah.
about that
Oh yeah,
already.
right. We did the exam, no?
So we have people here. My best friend Chum is watching. Ferdy Marcelo, Neil Patrick Zeruto. Are these people, you know them?
Yeah, Neil and Ferdy, I know them. Hi guys.
And Maybel Demavivas, our resident
Hi Mabes.
Sun
Yeah,
Life advisor, and
Iron Man champ.
yeah, that's true. So I can't recall. So we met back in 2014 with the purpose of getting certified, right? That
Certified.
was the
Yeah,
whole point.
yeah.
Was it any different? I mean, the fact that for me that my first trip immediately after was to Bataha, was there like something in your head, the back of your head, oh, this is too risky, or is that quite standard for fair for you?
Well, it was a bit of a rush. I remember the purpose we did the course was specifically to for the Tubata trip, right?
Yeah,
But if you remember also correctly, we made sure that we customized, kind of like tailored the advanced course for your Tubata trip.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah. I
went a little
remember
bit
that.
deep. I can't remember if we found some drift, no, but we were hoping we could get some drift, that. And I'm happy that you did it and you enjoyed your tuba without any like funny stories coming out. No?
Yeah, yeah,
It
that's
was a
really good.
successful trip. Yeah.
So, what do you call this? And to this year, there's no Tubataha, so it kind of sucks, no. But
Yeah.
so we hope to enjoy the sea in this manner, no. So with your photos and your stories from Paglugaban Cave. So before we get started on that, on the photos, I'd like to ask, how did you get started with this type of photography? Because I remember specifically, and also one of the reasons why
Why?
I'm featuring you
Mm.
is because I you taught me the basic stuff for photography before everything else, and then you were shooting macro, shooting some wide. But uh what was the what's impetus for you to transition to cave
Yeah.
photography?
Right. No, it kind of like happened by accident, but I'm happy that it did. No. I don't know if we talked about it, but it's common knowledge to my friends way back now, before my technical diving days, that I didn't really want to do tech,
Mm.
especially cave diving. They'd come back from trips, from their cave diving trips, show me like GoPro clips, and will give me like shivers in my spine, and I tell them that this is not for me. And we just laugh about it. They kept inviting me, but I always said no. But
Right.
if Alex is Alex on board, Alex Santos, not yet.
I wouldn't know. He should be
Yeah,
making
yeah.
should making some noise.
But yeah, but it's a really big thanks to Alex and Gorge Guhungko also. Gorge
Yeah.
has been like very persistent, showing me those clips and inviting me to join him. And then at one point, we had this opportunity to go to Benham Rice.
Okay.
It was like a bidding process. We actually didn't win the bid, but we trained for it. No. So we trained for all the way through cave diving. We didn't really need the cave diving in Benham Rice, but just to get the confidence, the skill level, and everything to make Benham easier. So we went a full technical rec and then full cave also. And
Right.
my first cave dive, and I haven't really told too many people about this, but the first cave dive, so we did our training already, the theory and the dry drills, and we were already there were four of us. We were entering the cave,
Right.
specifically Paglugaban Cave, no, without my camera because it was training.
Okay.
And 40 meters, about 40 meters in was the first chamber. We agreed to like stop at the first chamber, just check our pressure air.
Okay.
It's pretty standard in cave diving protocol. And then if you want to go out, bail out, this is the time. So you just give this signal.
Okay.
When you give this signal, it's no questions asked. It means that I want to go out and everybody goes out. No shame
Okay.
in it. No.
So
Okay. And I was,
it's not just you who's gonna bail out. It has to be everyone.
yes, yes, yeah. And no
Okay.
questions asked to remove that stigma of, peer pressure.
Okay.
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 It's better for that to happen right there and then than deep inside the cave. But anyway, I already decided, no, I'll give the I was thinking like
For what reason?
I don't really need this for Benham, So and I was I knew I was a little bit claustrophobic, but I didn't know up until then that it was that bad, my claustrophobia.
Right.
So I was really feeling really bad and so tight and so tunnel vision. I decided to, hey, when it's my turn already, and I was the last guy Alex was gonna ask,
Yeah.
I was decided to tell, hey, everybody, hey, sorry guys, this is not for me. Just go ahead if you want. But I just take photos outside. But
Okay.
while waiting for my turn, I was thinking like with a lot of things, no? And we talked about the turn pressure that I was supposed to give Alex.
Okay.
A lot of times also before we got inside, no? So we did a lot of briefing about it, no? Anyway, when it got to my turn, all that training, all that briefing instinctively just came back to me, and also just like that, I forgot my fears. Just I didn't know where it went. It just went away, and
Right.
I also gave Alex my turn pressure, and then I realized, shit, it's all in the mind.
Right. Right.
Sorry, I was sorry for the censored
It's fine. It's fine.
word.
We're rated R for you, for Ram. So wait, let me get
So
this straight. Do you have claustrophobia?
I only realized now when I started doing technical rec.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, technical rec. I'm looking at those video clips that my friends would show me about caves and wrecks. Now I'd feel some tingling in my spine already.
Right.
So it was like a little bit of suggestion that I had that.
Yeah.
But when I actually got there, that's when I really confirmed that I really do have some amount of claustrophobia. Some people would tell me, the experts, no, it's not really a formal consultation, but those other friends will tell me it's probably what they call a latent claustrophobia that comes in late. No,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but the nice thing with technical diving, it's all not about being gung ho or just being bravado. No, it helps you conquer your fears also.
Okay.
So it's part of the training. It gives you protocols. It gives you bailouts. It allows you to get comfortable before you get to the actual scenario through a lot of drills and skills. Now that when you get there, just like when Alex asked me, how much air do you have? What's your turn pressure? It
Yeah.
just
It
automatically
just
comes
kicks
back
in.
to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so you build the instincts now. It doesn't come to you. You have to work for it. But even up to today, to be honest, I still get those. claustrophobic tendencies inside.
Right.
But
I'm
the
sure.
important thing is I know how to manage it. I have my own tricks, and there are things that I need to do to overcome it. No? So that's a little bit of a comfort.
That's
Uh,
good.
yeah,
That's
for
good.
those who are inside the cave or the wreck with me, it's really bad if you see me without my camera, because that's the last thing I will drop. My
That's
camera.
true. Mawala na lahat. All right.
Mawala na lang.
Actually, for those of you who are just joining us, and for those who are watching on Facebook, the Facebook we are streaming on two platforms, YouTube and Facebook. So Facebook is actually just the teaser stream. In 15 minutes, actually, it is the 15th minute right now, but let's extend it further until probably after the first photo. But the stream will be cut, so it's best that you can transfer to the YouTube broadcast. Now, if you guys want some context into who are these two guys who are talking in front of you, you can visit our Instagram right there in front of you in the screen. So you can visit Ram at Ram Yoro on Instagram, and then Noel Guevara photo for my Instagram page. So, do you have cave photos there in your Instagram, Ram?
I think I do, yeah.
Okay,
But then
but
they'll
most
have
of
to
it,
dig in a little bit.
are Blackwater or
Yeah,
Bonfire.
most of it is black water.
Okay, we should get you again for another episode talking about Bonfire. Okay, so let's go and start with the first slideshow. Now, before we begin, Ram, can you give us a bit of context on what Paglugaban Cave is, where is it, and why
Yeah,
is that specifically the cave that you wanted to talk about?
yeah. So, Paglugaban Cave is a cave found in El Nido in Palawan. So everybody knows where El Nido is now. In one of the islands there, Paglugaban Island, there's a big underwater cave system. It's second to the biggest so far that we've found in the Philippines. And the beauty of the cave now can rival most of the other caves in other countries now. It has, to begin with, it has five chambers. Okay, so in each chamber, one, two, three, four, five, more or less have their own flavors, different flavors. And unlike your typical spring cave, which is found in the mountains now, and they have strong water flows. They're pretty tight now. Paglugaban is a sea cave. So a sea cave means that you have a mountain, an island with a mountain, and then basically the carbonic acid from the rain melted the limestone inside the mountain in that island, and then the pounding of the waves on the side of that island bore a hole and created an entry.
Right.
So there's not really so much current inside. It's more or less flat water, but the water rises and sinks according to the tide. No? So it's an easier cave to go in, and the passageways are bigger. They're not as claustrophobic. No? Um, Sea caves, in contrast to spring caves, are also older. It
Okay.
takes a longer time for them to form now. For instance, like Paglugaban Cave, studies based on the limestone recovered from the island suggests that it's actually as old as about 300 million years old. So you're
Wow.
basically going inside now, having a natural history trip now,
Yeah, it's like a time travel.
live. Yeah, time travel now. Everything, it's like going inside a museum and everything looks ancient now.
What
And yeah, go ahead.
what kind of certification, Ram, do you need to dive something like that?
Yeah, to go into a full overhead environment, you need to take full cave certification. So, generally speaking, different diving agencies usually have different kinds of terminologies for their courses, for the levels, technical levels. But it's generally like the beginning is you take an advanced nitrox course, which allows you to go
Okay.
deep and then understand the protocols of like how to decompression protocols. And then next, you get a full technical rec certification, which allows you to penetrate wrecks, and you apply your decompression protocols also when
Okay.
needed. And then the final one is the full cave course
Okay.
now. Yeah, and instead of it's basically the same as technical rec, except that you're penetrating not man-made structures, no, but caves.
Okay. Natural caves.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's set it up for everyone who's watching. We have actually Wow, we have 17. I believe we have. Oh no, we have 18 who are watching this show. Your is this your first live show? Okay, so here we are with the first image. So this is from Paglugaban.
Thi- yes, this is from Paglugaban Cave. This is actually the first chamber. So I thought of including this photo because actually not many people, including me, stopped by the first chamber to take shot. No? But if you actually take time to appreciate it, it's amazing. No? It's like surreal. The reason that I stopped here is because on the way out, it was actually taken on the way out. There was a pounding of the waves by the entrance.
Okay.
If you're looking at the photo, it's to the left of the photo.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So the entrance like pretty close now, and the pounding of the waves there is causing like a lot of wind and water compression inside, and you can actually feel it in your chest vibrating. Bam, bam, bam. It's
Okay.
kind of like scared me a bit. No? And then right by the mouth of the entrance, the bottom is a bit rough. No? It can hurt you when you get pounced there. So I decided I'd stop and just take a breather and observe the pattern of the waves, no? So I can time my way out. No? And then
This
I decided to just take photos while doing that.
this is
Yeah.
not the time that you were thinking of bailing out,
This was not the time I was thinking I was bailing out,
but
but
this is
this
the
was
place.
the same area. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I see. All right. So okay,
Yeah.
and then you have some supplementary photos for this one actually.
Yeah.
Is this the
Yes.
entrance?
That's the entrance. So on the left side, na, the entrance looks like this. You can see the diver there from afar. Now you can actually see a smaller diver. The entrance is about 3 meters wide. It's about 2 meters long,
Yeah.
and you have about 1 meter water clearance for you to swim as you go inside. So it's a slow swim inside, na, and that's why I stopped in the photo a while ago. That's why I stopped, no, because if the waves are pounding, it could you could end up yourself getting crashed by the jagged bottom, no, and hurt yourself.
Okay, so two things, Ram. One is I'm seeing the dive boat at the
Yeah,
mouth of the opening. So
yeah,
you're saying that when the conditions are really rough, the waves are really slamming against that
yeah.
opening.
Right, right.
Right. Okay.
It's usually during Habagat season, so just from about June, July through about October, November. But the rest of the year it's flat.
Okay. And then we have a question from my nephew, David, and we'll get back to this later. But
Okay,
he was asking about that Mama Mary statue. I know we have a
right,
story for this, right?
right,
This is for
right.
the second part, David. If you hang on, it's a really, really I would
Uh,
say tragic story, but
yeah.
yeah, but it's very interesting. So we'll go back to that, and let's continue with this first part for now. Okay, and then this would be
Yeah, so this is the first passageway connecting the first chamber and the second chamber. So a while ago, looking at the first photo, we turned left to go
right,
out. If you
right.
turn right, no, you'll end up at the dead surface, and then you go down, no, and that's the start of the first full overhead environment passage going or headed towards the second chamber. So it starts out really wide, well, not so wide actually, just okay. Like you can have two, three divers swimming side by side, and then begins to as you swim further ahead, and it begins to like get wider and wider and wider.
Is
Up
this the
until,
photo?
sorry, this is the entrance. I included this photo just to show you how rough the bottom is, no, and how dangerous it can be if you force an exit or an entry in really bad conditions.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Yeah, so this one is like somewhere in the middle of the passage. Um, a lot of the photos of caves that we see, they're usually bright and makes you forget that they're really dark. It's really dark inside. Remember, it's absence of sunlight, no? So it's pitch black. If you turn off all your light source, no, your eyes won't actually adjust, just like when you're in a movie house. No? So this shot. I just decided to like take that get a shot that kind of like resembles that feel. No? Really shows you how we actually see it when we're diving inside. No? So as we were swimming along the first passage, I waited for my buddies to move ahead, and I shot what do you call this with this ambient light using the torches of my buddy ahead.
So, Ram, if you turn off all the lights, is there a chance that your eyes will adjust and still get some illumination, or it's completely absent of any form of light?
Completely absent of any form of light. No? So yeah, so it's pitch black in short, pitch black, totally pitch black. No? In
Okay.
fact, no, during the training, I remember we have this lights drill we call lights out. No? So from inside, when we did it in Paglugaban, from the second chamber, which is about 100 meters inside, you have to find your way out in pitch black. No source of light. No, just following the line with your team going out to the exit. No? And my instructor, Alex Santos, even asked us to remove our dive computers
Mm-hmm.
because the LCD dive computers, no,
Yeah.
we don't really see so much light from that when we do like regular reef dives. But in Pagluga, in a cave setting, when it's pitch black, they can actually like emit out a lot of light. No?
Wow.
So yeah, so that's how dark it is inside a cave.
And then this one is the photo that I showed earlier. Sorry, I mixed it up.
Uh,
This is the last photo, and I believe this is the transition to the second chamber.
Second chamber.
Yeah, you were saying so Paglugaban, just to go back to it. Paglugaban is a cave that has 5 chambers.
Yeah.
And basically what you just talked about right now is the first chamber.
Yes, the first chamber.
And this is the
The passageway or the tunnel that's linking the first and the second chamber. Uh,
it has a very Tomb Raider
yeah,
appeal to it,
yeah,
I have to
yeah.
say.
It's the first chamber is about 40 meters inside from the entrance, and then the second chamber is a total of 100 meters from the entrance. You know? So from the first to the second chamber, more or less around a 60-meter swim.
Yeah.
And if you guys notice the walls of the cave, no, it's kind of a bit rough, you know. So yeah, when we get to the later photos in a bit later, you'll notice that the walls become smoother and shinier, and that's because of the aging of the cave. No? So when you have a wall like this inside a cave, no, what usually polishes it is the water flow.
Yeah.
So you have a wall and you have water flow, and the water flow acts more similar to like sandpaper.
Yeah, the abrasion
Uh, yeah,
smoothens
the
it out.
abrasion.
Yeah.
So you can tell just by comparing the walls now that this passageway and the first chamber is younger, quote unquote, than the succeeding chambers. No?
Okay. Ram, we have 2 questions. First is from Junard Bertulfo. Did you guys put some guidelines going to each chamber?
Yes, that's mandatory. So for cave diving and technical penetrations, no, cave lines are always mandatory.
Okay.
In this in Paglugaban Cave, we actually have two main lines, so one on the left side, one on the right side. Typically, it's not visible in the photo because they're kind of like very thin, no? And they kind of like mesh into the wall, but they're there, no. In fact, last 2016, I think we did a rehaul of the lines. Now, the initial line that Alex Santos placed
Okay.
almost 2 decades ago were already like really old and um, having a lot of growth in them. So we removed and replaced them with new ones.
Okay. And then Neil Zerudo is asking, what is the depth currently of this passageway?
Good question, Neil. So this area, the passageway, is like inclined going down. No? So the shallowest part is about 8 meters, more or less.
Okay.
And then this photo, if I remember correctly, is about at the um, 10 to 12 meter depth range. When I say 10, 12 meter, that's the bottom. It's actually not deep, no.
Okay.
It's pretty high. That's a high ceiling, so the ceiling is probably like even like 6 meters.
Okay.
And then the end of the passage before it dumps into the second chamber, which is deeper now, it goes down to about 15 to 16 meters. So in cave diving, if I may just add, no, you have big tunnels. No? The key to conserve your air no, is you always want to swim higher, near the
Right.
ceiling. No? So
Why?
like in this case, if you like in this photo, if you swim near the bottom, you're swimming at 10 to 12 meters. So you consume air
Mm,
at the
yeah.
10, 12 meters depth. No, rather if you stay at the ceiling where it's like only 6 to 7 meters, they consume less air. So
Right.
that's the technique. So this photo, Alex, and that's Ike already. That's Ike, by the way, the other guy. I asked him to go down just for the photo's sake.
Of course.
Uh,
We have to do that.
yeah.
Okay. So again, for those joining us, this is Behind the Shot, and we have here Ram Yoro, who is our underwater explorer and underwater photographer. And now we just talked about the first photo, which was about the first chamber of Paglugaban Cave. Now, initially I was planning on ending the Facebook stream after the first photo, but it looks like there are a lot of questions right now that are coming from that feed. So
Okay, keep
let's
it.
go with it. Let's go with it
Uh,
until maybe later, because right now you also have a lot of viewers on YouTube, and you're the superstar, Ram. So, okay, so for the next photo, this is from the second chamber, or which chamber was this?
can you show me the photo again?
This is the Mama Mary.
Second.
This one.
Yes. So this is the bottom of the second chamber. This is about 33 meters deep, and the bottom, as you can see in the photo, the siltation is very very thick, and you
Right.
have large chunks of boulders also by the side. No? So if you're wondering where this siltation and the boulders came, they all came down from the ceiling. No? In the millions of years that Paglugaban Cave was dissolving, uh, the silt, the boulders came crashing down, and they got pulverized into tiny bits that look like silt now. No? There's one huge, large stalagmite at the center of this area. It's about this area. It's pretty wide. It's about, I'd estimate, nobody really made measurements, but just based on if you compare it to the cuts of the condominium spaces in here in Manila, it's about like 100 meters now. It's that
Wow.
wide now. It's bigger than a basketball court now. So right at the center, there's that stalagmite now. And the photo doesn't do justice because that stalagmite is about almost 2 meters tall, and it's about 1 meter wide. What does it tell you? It's stalagmites and stalactites are collectively called speleothems,
Okay.
geologic terms.
There's a
They
lot of
can only
science into
form,
this, huh?
yeah, all copied that from Alex Santos.
How's Alex
So
Santos, our king of caves?
still waiting for him. So the speleothems, they can only form when the cave is dry. They form from the dripping of the water, and so you have water dripping. So it's not really pure water. You have some minerals dissolved in that water. So when it lands on a flat surface, and then the next drop lands there, and then the water dissolves, you have the tiny amount of mineral that fall on top of each other, and then they will eventually form slowly a tall structure called a stalagmite, or if it's from the ceiling, a stalactite.
Okay.
So just based on the size of this stalagmite, it tells you that this area was actually dry for probably like millions of years.
Okay.
It takes a long time for this stalagmite to get into that size.
We
So
have we are. I've noticed though, Ram. Sorry, that there are no. Uh, there's an absence of marine life in your
yeah,
photos?
right. So inside caves, normally it's what they call the twilight zone, zero oxygen and no sunlight, which are
Okay.
essential elements for sustaining life. So deep inside the caves, there's usually no living animals. You have remains of creatures, but nothing alive. Like in
Oh,
this particular area, there's actually a grouper skeleton there,
right.
and yeah, and a lot of crustacean remains, the carapace, the pincers, just scattered all over the area. So again, this tells us that this area was probably, first, I don't know how it was possible, but it only suggests that there was a bit of sunlight there before,
Right.
probably, or water flow that supplied nutrients for these guys to survive.
Okay. And then we have a question before we move on to the story. A very quick question. Try to answer it as fast as you can.
Sure.
Do you adjust the white balance or any adjustment on your camera settings compared to typical reef wide angle photography? This is from Juntats
Hi,
Tipasupan.
Juntats. Yeah, hi, Juntats. For cave diving, since you're relying on what it goes on your strobe lights, artificial lights now,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really need to white balance anymore. So because you get the full color spectrum of the scenery when you blast your lights now. So the key only is you have to shoot with something that your light can really hit now.
Right.
Like for instance, you have the stalagmite, or if you're shooting a tunnel now, you need to capture the walls now, so get the color out. Otherwise, it will all like turn like bluish or whatever. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but to answer your question, no need to white balance. No.
Just do that in post
But
anyway.
yeah, but for post processing, you probably will need to, because there's when you're shooting now, there's a bit of a depth into the photos. Like this one, in the front you get the colors, but at the back you get a little bit more blue,
Yeah.
because that's the last color spectrum that we lose now. So in the farther end, you usually have a lot of blues. If you don't like the blues, you can actually turn it down in post processing. But otherwise, you can just keep it. Like in this photo, I kept it.
Yeah, and I'm sure Ram is shooting in RAW, and just like myself, I always shoot in RAW because the white balance in underwater is quite tricky, and the best thing you can really do is just keep it on auto and process it at the very end of your workflow on your computer, because there is really no justification to keep on changing your white balance as you're shooting different types of sceneries or different lighting situations or subjects. Might as well focus on the art form and just composition and everything, and just do everything in post. So I'm sure that is what Master Ram is doing as well. Okay, so we move on. There is a very interesting and tragic story behind this second chamber, Ram. So let me cue you up with this screenshot from Alex Santos' video, and you can see there that there is this pink light, right? Torch.
Yeah.
I haven't used a torch in so long, I forgot the term. So Ram, take it away.
So you can see there the pink Toshiba torch, no, which belonged to one of the divers that perished in the second chamber. Um, Ferdy is around, yeah, but I know Ferdy knows the story better than I do. But we asked around Ferdy and a lot of the other guys also who were incidentally involved in the incident in one way or another. But more or less, it goes like this. No, many a few decades ago, nobody can really pinpoint the exact dates, but around like early 80s, no, there were like five divers who didn't have training or certification for cave diving, and they just ventured inside, no, out of curiosity, perhaps. No? And then they swam all the way in, about 100 meters into the second chamber. The three of them ended up in the deep part and perished there. No? And miraculously, two of the guys found their way in the massive air pocket, which we will see later
Sorry,
in the
Ram.
second chamber also.
How did they perish? Did they got lost or?
They got disoriented while they were going in, because in the cave it's pitch black. In wide tunnels, no, passageways, when you turn around and everything, all the features look the same. It's hard to tell which way is going in, which way is going out. So they were probably, presumably, trying to find their way out, no, trying to get their bearings until they run out of air in the deep part of the second chamber. So
Okay.
just to give you a little bit of additional visual, so this is the entrance on
Right.
my elbow, and the cave goes like this now. So you go down, it goes a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper. At the end of the first passage, about 15, 16 meters, it drops all the way down to like a huge cup now, to 33 meters. So if cave training, no, they teach you to set up lines near the ceiling on the sides.
Right.
Don't stay at the bottom. No. But if you don't have cave training, what's your instinct normally? You wanna just follow the contour at the bottom,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
Yeah. So they probably did that, and when they got dropped into that big well in the second chamber, remember it's about 100 square meters wide now,
Okay.
and you drop right in the middle. It's so hard to find which way is the exit. No. So they were presumably, all this is just presumption based on um, the uh, the uh, the cave and the artifacts. They were presumably looking for the way out, and one of the bodies that was recovered was found in this little overhang just in front of the previous photo, the huge stalagmite. This is about 3 meters away from that huge stalagmite,
Yeah.
and you have a little overhang. So one of the bodies was recovered there,
So
and it was a girl, I presume, because I mean Noel would probably like use a pink torch, right? He'd probably go for a blue torch. Yeah.
I'd go wild with that.
So
Alex is saying that that is Simitsu's light.
yes, Shimizu. If For those familiar with the islands in El Nido, the island right beside Paglugaban Island is called Shimizu Island. And from the stories that Alex was able to figure out, the body of this girl was taken out and was temporarily stationed on that island.
That's
And
why they
then
call it Simitsu. Yeah.
and they renamed that island Shimizu after that.
Okay, and then this one is this is a booty.
This, yeah, this is also a screen grab from Alex's video, and not far from the pink torch, about another 4 meters away. There's a little bit. There's a small crevice. If you can see on the upper left corner of the photo, there's like a small hole that goes into like about a 2 square meter area. Two bodies were recovered there.
Mm-hmm.
So presumably they got lost and got stuck here, looking for the exit. And then the two bodies were covered here, and then inside now we don't have a visual documentation of that. It's a set of weight belt with some
Okay.
weights, and then a snorkel, and then right by the mouth, like in this screen grab, you see one of the booties that belong to the victims still in place.
So my question is actually, Ram, in any given case, no, this is a very tragic story. But if I was to think about it, if the torch was attached to an arm, or maybe it was being handheld, but the booty, that's pretty difficult to get off naturally without anyone taking it off,
Right.
right? So what happened? Did the victims remove the booty first before before everything happened, or it just fell off when they were removing? Because I can't imagine, uh, uh,
Taking off, how
yeah,
the booty can come off.
or
No?
how it could come off
Yeah.
if the person's no longer conscious.
Yeah. Uh, well, I never really like checked the story behind this, no. But the weights and the snorkel inside, for sure, when the rescuers found them, they ditched them. So that was with a little bit of intervention. But no, again, no need to. But with regards to the booty, no need to take the trouble of taking it off.
Yeah.
I'm just presuming here, no, and anybody can like challenge this, no. Uh, like if your body is soaked, they were recovered like at least 3 days after the incident. So if your body is like soaked in like fresh water in water for 3 days, it's going to be probably like very soft and bloated, and anything can
uh,
come off easily. Like
that's true.
when you have a chicken and you soak it in water, it's so easy to remove the feathers.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And then this is another shot from that same
yeah.
chamber.
Yeah, so this chamber, so the bottom part was where the tragedy happened. On the upper part of the second chamber, which is what you're looking at now, you can see a dry area wide enough for people to stand actually and stay put. And this is where the two other guys now miraculously found their way, and survived for 3 days without water, without sunlight, and
What?
they were just
Wow.
sitting there pitch black. So imagine pitch black, you can't see your body, but you can hear him. They probably found each other. No? They were in each other's arms probably, but that's it. No? That's the only comfort they can take. And
How cold can it get in that pocket?
it's pretty cold now. The water alone is around like 21 to 23 degrees, sometimes even cooler. But in the dry area, I'd presume like another 2 to 3 degrees also.
Lower, you mean?
No, usually air is warmer, so
Warmer.
probably a little bit warmer.
Okay. And then so they didn't have their own torches to like turn on every so often. It was just completely dark for them.
Uh, the specifics of that, I'm not sure. I presume they probably still have their torches, but it
Okay.
was probably out of battery already.
So they
Uh,
survived 3 days. In
yeah.
total, darkness, and then no water. What and then how did the I believe the Philippine Navy were the ones who rescued and the two survivors and recovered the three
Yeah,
bodies.
right. So they went inside now. So the Navy guys didn't also like have at that time. It was the early 80s, remember? So cave diving wasn't as prevalent yet. So were the protocols not set yet. No? And what they did was they had a really long rope, about 2 inch in diameter, and then they brought with them a couple of hollow blocks
Okay.
just to weight down the line, no? And then they sort of basically just follow the bottom contour,
Okay.
and then weighted down the hollow blocks in intervals to keep the line in place, no? And then up until they went to the deep part of the second chamber and found the victims, and then they searched some more and then found the survivors.
Survivors.
Yeah, it
Wow,
must
that's
have
a
been
good
a
thing.
big surprise for them to see survivors inside.
What was the condition of the two survivors when they found them?
Yeah, they say that they were delirious, almost out of their minds, crazy. They probably thought that the lights that they saw coming towards them were like light from heaven, trying
I'm
to
sure. I
fetch
can't
them.
imagine. I can't imagine. Okay, so for those joining us, we have Ram Yoro right here, and he's been talking about all the photos that he has taken in Paglugaban Cave, and we are now on our second main photo. Uh, if you want to follow Ram on Instagram, just look for Ram Yoro, and then you can also look for me, Noel Guevara photo. There are a few other photos left in this particular chamber. Uh, this is what the guys were asking earlier, Bea and David. They're asking why there is a Mama Mary statue.
Yeah. So sometime after the incident, the survivors commissioned the locals to plant a statue of the Virgin Mary and a cross also. So you can see on the somewhere near the lower left, you have the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and on the
Okay.
upper right, you have the small cross. No, and yeah, so those are basically planted and commissioned by the survivors. And so was the statue of the Virgin Mary in the first chamber the to answer an earlier question
Okay.
when
So
we
there
were
are
the
two
first game.
statues.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay. And then this is, I believe, a sort of totem pole on that same
yes.
chamber.
Yes. Totem pole. So just right below those the cross and the statue, you'll find this really tall totem pole. No? And you can see on the lower left corner a smaller one, a smaller totem pole where the line actually ends.
Okay.
If you have really sharp eyes, and if your internet can give you like HD quality, you can see the line arrow pointing backwards. No? The triangle. Can you see that small white
Yes.
triangle?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So in cave diving protocol, you always set it up, no? So that the tip of the triangle points to the exit.
Okay. I
So
see.
yeah, yeah. So the exit is on the way back. I did a little bit of research before we leave the photo on this totem pole. No? So this is very rough calculation, no? But
Yeah.
um, there was a formula that I followed from the internet, and if you base the height of the totem pole to the average growth of a stalagmite, no? It would have taken this totem pole 42,000 years to
Wow.
get to that size. No? So this area alone, presumably, is around that old, 42,000 years.
Yeah, that's actually what my best friend Chum is logged on now, and he just asked how many years ago this occurred,
Yeah,
and 40,000 years. That's a
a
really
lot.
long
No?
time. It's an
Yeah. Uh,
unimaginable
uh,
period of time. Okay, so for you guys here who are watching, and this is the first episode of Behind the Shot, and we have Ram Yoro, underwater explorer, talking about caves. Before we move on to the third photo, the third and final photo, if you like this show, Behind the Shot, please consider liking the video on YouTube, subscribing, and turning on notifications. This week, we also have Pen de los Santos, underwater photographer, and at the very end on Friday, we have Bo Mancao, who will also talk about all his photos. Great, awesome people. I've gone diving with all of them, and they have very interesting photos to share as well. So we'll move on to the third and final photo of Ram that he's been so generous to share with us. Okay.
So
And okay.
this is a third chamber, Paglugaban. It's about 60 square meters in diameter, based on my rough and unreliable estimates. If you see the diver there, that's Alex Santos, by the way. Shout out to Alex. Alex, as I mentioned earlier, for those who just joined in, it was my mentor for not only cave diving, for all my technical diving adventures. Hi, Alex.
Did you know that
So,
sorry, a bit of commercial. Did you know that I bumped into Alex in El Nido, I think last year? I was there for I think our anniversary with
really,
Pam. And then out of the blue in the packed main road, I see Alex and he just comes up to me alone. And I think he's always there
all places. Yeah, he's Alex Santos. Yeah, he's synonymous to Paglugaban Cave. No?
looking for more caves.
Yeah, he wasn't the first to enter the cave, if you ask him, but he was definitely the first to fully explore it.
You know, Pam actually wants to get certified. So think when
Uh,
Mako is a bit older, she's gonna do it. I really don't have anything, I don't in any interest in cave diving as of yet, but I have a feeling that I will develop that soon enough. Okay, so this third photo, I'm assuming this is your favorite out of the whole set,
yeah,
right? But
it's my
before,
favorite chamber. Yeah.
okay, so let's get into the technicals of this. What
Yeah.
setup do you have? What camera equipment do you have?
So I use a Nikon D810, and I have a small focus light now. When I shot this, I think I was using, if you're curious, I think I was using only a 2300 lumen smart focus V-Fine torch.
Wow.
And yeah, and then I was using, I believe I was using a Z240s here, but with the big domes, no? With the dome diffusers, I mean. Without the dome diffusers, would it be impossible to get a shot like this, no? To
Because
cover everything at 60
okay,
meters.
so because it has to be
Yes.
projected wider
Yeah.
in a bigger
Right.
area. Okay.
Yeah, wider. Yeah. So for those of you who are doing cave photography, the secret is the dome diffusers, really. So it does a lot of wonders in capturing all the intricate details and the features and lighting up big spaces in domes now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
And then how many strobes do you have though?
just two, just two.
Just two.
They're
Okay.
they're usually I power up about three fourths.
Okay.
Yeah, not full, no? Just three fourths, just enough. Another thing about cave photography, but because the water is usually very clear, if you power up your strobes a lot, too strong, no? It kind of like, I don't know why this happens, but it blows up you get a lot of highlights.
Okay.
Like the water is so clear that it all bounces back to you. So it easily creates a lot of highlights in your photos. So you don't need to power up, just enough, no. But what's more important is to spread out the light, and that's where the dome diffusers come in when you're doing cave
Yeah, to
photography.
soften it and also
Yeah, to spread it. Yeah.
but your dome diffusers, are they clear or are they
I wish
translucent?
I, I wish I had a translucent one, but I'm using the light dome. That's a brand, a light dome. It's whitish. It's
Okay.
not translucent. Yeah,
At least it lowers it by a few stops.
yeah, yeah.
Kisi Marfil is asking what type of strobes were you using?
This one here I was using a Z240s,
Okay.
Enon Z240s.
Okay, so this is the final. Am I correct? Is this the final chamber?
No, no, you have two more chambers after this.
Oh
This is
wow.
the middle
Okay.
chamber.
Okay. So
So this,
how long has the dive been? Bea is asking. At
uh,
this point, how long have you been underwater or inside the cave?
um, in terms of before you get to the time, in terms of distance, this is probably around, I would roughly estimate, and Alex, please correct me, no? Around 100, 130, meters inside
Okay.
the cave. Maybe close to 150 meters inside the cave. No? If you swim it straight through, it will only take like about 30 minutes with all
Okay.
that, dealing with all that zigzag up and downs now. Because remember, the cave, you have to swim to what the cave gives you. So sometimes you have to make sharp turns. Sometimes you need to like go up, go down.
Right.
Unlike your reef diving, where you usually dive a square or a V profile, in caves you can't do that. So with all those twists and turns factored in, would probably take around 25 to 30 minutes to get to this space if you just swim straight. But you
But
normally like
yeah.
make a lot of stops to see this, see that,
So normally
check
you would
this,
be
check
what,
that.
an hour into the dive by the time you get
Yeah,
here?
yeah, about maybe 50 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes when you
Okay.
get there. Yeah,
This second photo, this supplementary photo that you have, you can
yeah.
see that it's a bit hazy. Like, is there a halocline? Is there a
Yeah, that's a halo climb. That's another thing about cave photography. You have to deal with a lot of halo climbs and then silt falling down. So when you blow your bubbles, when you get there first, it's clear. So
okay?
as soon as you enter and you blow your bubbles, your bubbles when they reach the ceiling, you get a lot of stuff or still falling down on
There's
you.
vibration from
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, and then the halo climb also, like sea caves in particular, they have a lot of areas where salt and then fresh water mix. So
Mm-hmm.
when there's no movement, you can actually see the delineation. I think we have some
Wow.
photos later where
Okay.
you have like similar to Barracuda Lake now, where one layer is blurred and then the other layer is clear now. And the moment you go in there, you swim through that, you mix it all up now. So like
Okay.
this photo, the divers go in. I believe that's Alex based on his spins now. Already starting to mix up the fresh and salt water, and on the top
Alex,
part of the photo,
messing up
but
your
that's
shot,
unavoidable. Yeah. So you can see it's starting to blur out already. When
Okay.
that happens, it's basically goodbye photography.
Okay, so
Everything is
you have
blurred.
to be the first guy inside the chamber.
Yes, preferably you have to be the first one. If
Okay.
your intention is take a photo.
Okay, and then this
Yeah.
this shot would be, is that Alex still?
Yeah. No, that's Mick. If Mick is around, one of our dive buddies. So when you enter that, this is a continuation of the photo where Alex was going in. It starts to go down, 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 down a bit, and it will turn abruptly left now. And the area narrows down to about 1 square meter in diameter. It's so small that when you blow your bubbles now, when your bubbles hit the ceiling and the
Mm.
sides of the wall of the tunnel, it reverberates. It goes like boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
First time I heard that gives me like the creeps, the spooks. What's happening here? Where's it coming from? You're so deep inside the cave, and then suddenly you hear that, and then later on you realize it's your
It's your
bubbles.
bubbles. Okay.
Yeah,
How
but
wide is
but
this chamber? Pen, our guest for Wednesday is asking. Awesome lighting. How wide is this chamber?
hey, Pen, it's about the third chamber. The photo that you guys saw earlier was about 60 meters in diameter, more or less. Rough estimates now. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Michelle is also present.
Hi, Mick.
She is also watching.
Mick
Oh.
Chan. That's you making the photo, if you remember that.
Okay, and that is, I think, the end of it. So, what have you been
Yeah,
to the fourth and fifth chamber?
yeah, the fourth and the fifth chamber now. The fourth and the fifth chamber are bigger chambers compared to the third one, the one that we're looking at now. No? The fourth chamber is rectangular in shape. It's longer, and it's about a total of, again, if we were to make a rough estimate, 80 square meters maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to the fifth chamber is massive. It's almost as big as the 100 square meter estimate of the second chamber. But the difference is that the fifth chamber is totally filled with water. So when
Okay.
you get in there and you look at the ceiling and all that, it's all filled with water, but it has a lot of stalactites hanging by the ceiling. There's a stalactite there that Alex pointed out to me, that it's so refined already from many thousands, if not millions of years of water sand blasting it now. It's so refined already and so crystallized that when you actually torch it up,
Yeah.
charge it up with your torch, it glows for about two to
Wow.
three seconds after. Yeah,
Wow. That
um,
that's interesting to see.
yeah,
Ram, do you have, aside from cave diving, I know you guys published this book, Anilaw, right?
yeah. So that one, that's a side project with my buddy Andrew Marriott. So we were just drinking one time in Anila, and we were looking at guidebooks, and we decided, hey, why don't we come up with one for Anilao? No?
Yeah.
and it started like as a joke, but it actually came true.
Well, that's good.
So
And
good
they
things
have
happen when you're drinking also.
that's true. And you also have another book. So I have both of Ram's books.
Yeah, that
Um,
one is the animal book was pretty successful. So Andrew and I decided to pursue something closer to our heart. Both of us are into World War II,
yeah, that's
and
same as
then
me.
yeah, Noel too. No? So we decided to come up with a rec book about Subic and Coron.
Okay. Paul is asking, Paul Tuazon. Hey,
Hey,
Paul.
Paul.
Why are the walls blue?
Good question. Oh, we
Specific
forgot.
minerals.
Yeah,
That are there specific minerals that make it blue?
it's actually an optical illusion, Paul. So when you're inside this particular photo, no, when you are inside the third chamber and you light up the walls closely, they're actually white. Okay, but shooting from afar, no,
Mm-hmm.
when you light up the walls, no, remember you have some colors in the color spectrum: red,
Okay.
orange, yellow, green, blue, etc.
Okay.
So the closer photos there are you have the full range, no, and then you start losing the red, orange, yellow, and then the green. The farther ones, no, no more red, orange, yellow. You only have the green, so you have green, and then even the most back part ones, no, will have only will reflect blue na lang.
So you're saying these walls are not actually blue. It's caused by your light.
No, it's caused by your light.
Okay. I
So
see.
the farther walls will always look like green and blue. The closer
Okay.
ones will, yeah, reflect the more accurate colors. Yeah.
Okay.
Big,
All right. Okay, so guys, we are actually here on the third, and that was the third and final photo that Ram has showed us. If you like this video, those guys who are watching YouTube, please like the video, subscribe, and hit the notifications. This helps me a lot in terms of producing more episodes of Behind the Shot. And on my channel, it's not just online live talk shows like this. I do gear reviews, and travel videos, and most of the underwater films that I have shot are also on my YouTube channel. So please, if you could consider it, please subscribe to my channel. And this Behind the Shot series is powered by Deity microphones. So they were very kind enough to supply gear for me so that I could make this work. Streaming is not actually, although most of the stuff are free, the supporting equipment isn't. So they were very, very generous in that sense, and they helped me set it up. So if you want to check out Deity microphones, head over to their site. Ram, actually, I was gonna tell you that they have this new lapel mic that is waterproof.
waterproof, no?
So it's
Yeah, yeah,
great for
amazing,
us.
huh?
Yeah, when we're
Yeah,
shooting outside, it's a great
yeah.
um
Did,
it's a great equipment to use.
yeah. Did they tell you the depth rating for that?
Not yet. Actually, I want to hear. I want to know if it's good for salt water, if anything.
Oh,
And for you guys who really like what you've seen, please consider following us on Instagram as well. Ram Yoro. That's at Ram Yoro on Instagram, and Noel Guevara photo also on Instagram. We up next for Behind the Shot on Wednesday is actually Pen de los Santos, and I believe Pen right now is watching. And this will be at the same time, 5 p.m. May 13. And then after Pen, it's going to be Bowman Cow. Next week, it's also going to be very, very interesting because we have conservation photographers and filmmakers. We have next week Steve Denif and also Bugs Rosales will be joining us. So Ram, do you have any other projects that you would like to invite the guys who are watching? We have almost 22 people watching us on YouTube,
yeah.
and then about
Uh,
15 watching on Facebook. I just basically finished the whole episode on Facebook because I realized that FB Live is free. You can watch it for free. It's not data specific. So,
right.
the more people that we get to watch, the better. Who get to watch this, the better. That
Right.
is the whole point. So, is there any
Right.
project that you have running?
Yeah, like God willing, now if the pandemic ends soon and we still have time to do that, no, if the new normal will allow it, no, I'm currently working on a rec book about the wrecks of Brunei. We're
Wow.
supposed to have one last trip to finish everything, and it was supposed to happen like this month,
Okay.
May. So because of the pandemic and all that, indefinitely postponed. Hopefully, we can finish it in the new normal. And guys, please watch out for
So you
that. I
have
will make some
green and then the
announcements, and hopefully, you guys can enjoy. We can share that to you guys, and you guys can enjoy it.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for watching. This is me, Noel, and our guest for today, for tonight, Ram. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Stand by, Ram. Stay on Zoom.